Namaskaram to all of you. Namaskaram. I'm seeing some familiar faces. How many of you attended my earlier classes? Which course? Mind management course. This is the first class on communication skill, right? What's your expectation on when you join for such a course? What is that you expect from this course? Improving? That's a general statement. So you put a reflector and then say what's it. I just want to know what's your expectation. You want to speak English. So this is not the place. There is another place called English language teaching. Yeah, that's a good point. Ability to think yourself. Good. Anything more? Pardon? How to communicate others. Yeah, so you want to know how to communicate others. Good. Then what else? Okay, you want to get more confidence in doing it. Yeah, fine. Good. There is another course, confidence building. Okay.
How to convince others with your communication?
How to?
Convince others.
Convince others.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're trying to come closer to what I want now. What is communication as far as you are concerned? For him, communication is language. For somebody else, communication is thinking, idea. For somebody else, communication means confidence. No, you said something else. What is that?
How to convince people with your
So for you, communication is not what you say, how others will understand you. Okay. If you start defining communication, you will get different aspects of communication. I just wanted to pick up some examples. That's why I asked you a few questions. And somebody said how to communicate to others. But if you want to get a good skill in communication, first you think that with whom you are communicating maximum. Can you answer that? Assume that capability you have and you achieve perfection in maximum portion of communication which you are doing, then you have a good skill over that. With whom you are communicating maximum? Friends. How many of you agree that friends? Raise your hands. Full, yeah. What is it? You're lazy or what? Okay. So you don't agree. With whom you are communicating maximum? Pardon? With whom? Those who don't agree with the friends. You tell me what is the other option? To parents. How many of you feel that you are communicating more with your parents? Raise your hands. Over. Any more suggestions? No, but maximum. Who are they? Whether they belong to the friends group, for him you don't speak to friends much. He spend more time with parents. People around you, okay. All are wrong. Maximum communication happens to you yourself. Is it not? Before any communication, you communicate to yourself. And most of the time, we are not communicating to others, we are communicating to ourselves. Every thinking process is a communication. And when she says that I have no confidence, and when you feel that somebody is not getting convinced, when you feel that you don't know the language, all these are communication within. Before you attend this course or before you join this course, there will be a lot of communication happening internally to you. Is it not? Whether to join or not to join. Who talks to you? As soon as I came here, you all communicated to me. You know how? Your eyes are open and you take my picture. And my picture is inside your brain. Taking picture is a communication. Communication doesn't mean only oral, with the mouth. That's why when I ask you, you say communication means convincing others, telling others and all that. This picture is communicating something to you. The picture is a communication. And you have taken my picture, and maybe after some time, by mistake you meet me on the road, one more picture will be taken. And you see whether the old man, this man, whether the same person or not. You try to recognize. That recognition is a communication between your eye to brain and back, and then your manas will say, oh, then all what happened with me, the class also will you start recollecting. That's a good communication between your manas and buddhi. When I say murchi bhaji, that word is enough. Your tongue will start communicating to you. It's only ear gave an idea, murchi bhaji. Yes, shape is already there in you. Why? Because you have seen earlier and you start connecting them. Is it not? So lot of communication happens between your indriyas to the manas, indriya to buddhi, buddhi to manas. All that communication is very, very important. And that communication can be called as internal communication in you. And any external communication, whether it is good or bad, it depends on your internal communication. Each word what you talk, the words are communication generally. That's why every conversation we consider it as communication. Every word what we pronounce, before pronouncing there is something which happens internally. The vak, the word becomes clean only when your manas is clean. When you look at the picture, you feel, oh, this picture is beautiful. Just because your mind is beautiful. Assume that you have a critic mind, then you will say, what is this? The peacock is not at all good. No? Is it how the bushes have to be? Is it how the ground has to be painted? The picture will communicate to you differently based on how you are. Your word will be perfect only when your manas is perfect. What you see will be good only when your manas is perfect. What you smell will be good only when your manas is good. Vak mana chakshu srotra grana jihwaredo buddhyagrati sankalpame shuddhyanta. Vak, the word, if that has to be clean, manas have to be clean because the word comes from manas. Vak mana. From where the manas get words? Manas get information through indriyas. The first important indriya is eye. Therefore the mana will have clean words only when the chakshu is clean. That means you should put a lot of eye drops and clean your eyes so that you will get good words in you. Chakshu, srotra, whatever you hear also will give you words, ideas, language. All that comes with your indriyas. Chakshu, srotra, grana and jihwaredo buddhyagrati sankalpame shuddhyanta. Your sankalpam has to be good. Not that indriya will give. After that you will have thought process. If your thought process is not clean, you will have bad communication. That means internal communication have to be perfect so that your external communication will become perfect. If good words have to come, your mind has to be very clean. So, when internally when we have confusion, conflicts, there will be a lot of communication between buddhi and manas. And that communication takes 99% of our time. When you start reading the book, your mind goes to 101 places. Because the indriya is not able to concentrate in one place. You are not able to read. When you read, the idea does not go inside. We are listening. If we are listening perfectly, the teachers don't have to beg in the class. Please listen, please listen. Every teacher is a beggar. They go on beg to the students. Please listen, please listen. But you are hearing, but you are not listening. What happens is the sound goes inside, but the meaning does not go inside. When the teacher talks about Tolstoy, you will be thinking about Chiranjeevi. That's because the communication is not effective. Why? Because you are not able to convince. The speaker is not able to convince the listener. And many people have confusion. When they open the book, they are not able to concentrate. That's a normal problem which people will say. Do you have the same problem when you go to cinema theatre? You are not able to concentrate? Full concentration 2.5 hours, is it not? Why the same concentration of 2.5 hours does not happen inside the book? Because the communication which happens in cinema theatre is very good, but the communication which happens from the book to you is not very good. The book is also communicating to you, is it not? When you are reading, what happens? Some ideas are being given to you. That's a communication. The picture communicates, book communicates, signal communicates. You can see on Hyderabad when people drive, there is a signal and it shows red. And some people will understand. That means red means you should not drive. But still you can see people will drive. It's a bad communication. They don't understand the signal. Is it not? Sometimes it's not convincing. And a police only can communicate to them perfectly. No? What does it mean? Normally don't understand. So many things are seen, but you don't realize it. You don't understand it. Somebody will get information, somebody will get data, somebody get knowledge, somebody get skill. All these are different layers. Data is available to everybody equally. Once the data gets analyzed internally, that becomes information to you. If you don't analyze the data, it becomes just data. So a communication of data internally gets converted into information. And that information, when you learn and make it yours, that becomes knowledge. And that knowledge, when you use it, that becomes skill. It is not that people doesn't have language. You have language. All words are not. But exactly when you wanted to express something, the words will not come. Why? Because you don't have the skill of using the knowledge. You don't have to learn English. Anyway, English is not our mother tongue, it's other tongue. Why do you worry? If you can communicate well in Telugu, you can also communicate well in English. If you can have a good public speaking capability in English, automatically, definitely you will have in your mother tongue. And all languages are almost the same. Learning language is only a trick. If you know Telugu, Kannada is very easy. Reading and writing equally, almost the same script, right? No? So you can read and write. And very similar words you can see from Kannada and Telugu. And Tamil very easy because they don't have distinction between ka, ka, ga, ka, they have only one ka. Katata ka. If you know all that multiplied by 4, 16 is over with the 4 learnings. Very easy. Tamil is very easy to learn. Malayalam slightly difficult, but for Telugu people it's not that difficult. And if you look at the language, it's very simple. Avide, ivide, evide, ange, inge, enge, alli, illi, illi, akkada, ikkada, ekkada, idhar, udhar, kidhar. All languages are same. So it's very easy to learn language. Only thing you should have the skill. How do you learn language? Only way use it. If you know or don't know, don't worry. Whether grammar is good or don't worry about all that, try to use it. Once you use, they will understand something. Sometimes they don't understand, they will start correcting. The only way is to use. That's why communication skill. You have a language, but people don't use it. Using language is what is being taught here. Language will not be taught. But how to use that language? You have some reservation, you don't use it. The issues in communication will be dealt here. The courage for using will be given. You will see people talking on different topics. You will get classes on many types of communication. Oral communication, non-verbal or non-verbal communication. And body language, importance of body language will be taught here. The people who teach body language also will be teaching like this sometimes, without expression. But most of the time communication doesn't depend just on this. Assume that you are making a PowerPoint presentation on a topic. PowerPoint presentation on a topic. It's a technical presentation in which you don't require good language because most of them are available in pictures or slides. But there has to be content. Sometimes content can be less, but presentation has to be better. So there are some equations in which people will say that presentation should be good, content should be good. If content is not good, even your presentations are good, that looks very good. But only in the time when you listen to that. After that you will feel, oh, nothing was there inside that. It will be very interesting to listen, but content will not be there. That's what happens in the speeches given by politicians sometimes. It will be so interesting, no? But after 2.5 hours of attending, if you think, what did he speak on that day? Nothing will be there, all gas only. So that also can happen. Sometimes communication will be very impressive, but totally useless. When we talk about a professional communication, more important is content inside that. There has to be some data. You must be able to think about what he spoke. Assume that 1 hour somebody gives a lecture. You must be able to give a title for that. Assume that you are reading a paragraph or one whole article you have read. If the article does not give you any data, any information, any aspect, nothing inside that, that cannot be called as communication. That becomes a good communicative material only when it has got some content inside that. Therefore, sometimes presentation has less importance, but content has more importance. Somebody will tell you sometimes that maybe body language is very important. But if you look at the traditional way of looking at communication, people don't give that importance to body language because you are not giving dance practicing. It's not a performance of dance. In earlier days in AIR, All India Radio, we used to listen to drama. Don't you see? People used to listen to drama. But how can you listen to drama? Drama is an art form which has to be presented with emotion. But you can listen to the dialogue and you can imagine how the face will be. When you listen to the crying sound of somebody, you can imagine how the face will be, right? So your imagination is inbuilt in the words what people use. So sometimes communication need not have the presence of people. Assume that you are getting a telephone call. You are not seeing the person, but still you can understand his emotions. You can realize his feelings. How is it happening? Because we are also in the same group of people, we have the feeling, they also have similar feeling, therefore we can understand how their faces will be. So body language is important to some extent, sometimes it is not important. So you will see different people talking on different topics, importance of body language sometimes. But assess with all this background with you. When people talk about artham, that means content, that's important sometimes. But many times you will listen to songs, nice Hindi song, and you really appreciate it. Is it because you understand the meaning of every word? Does it not, you don't listen to that? You will listen to Hindi songs and you will enjoy it. That is communicating something to you. Because it makes you happy sometimes. Listening to music makes you happy. And sometimes some nice instrumental music, it has no meaning at all. Hindi song have meaning but you are not understanding. But whereas instrumental music have no meaning but still you will enjoy that. Therefore in communication you have got different levels. One is only in the sound level. Only in sound level. Sound also communicates to you something. And you will feel happy, sometimes you will feel sad. The tone is enough to understand whether it's communicating good mood or bad mood. Sometimes somebody dies, you can see All India Radio or TV. As soon as you want, the veena will have a different tone. So you know somebody died, some VIP died. Because it communicates a message to you. So sound can communicate things sometimes. Does not mean anything. Somebody shouts at you. No words have come out. But still you know he is in bad mood. So sometimes a facial expression will communicate you something. That means bhavam will communicate. Sometimes sound will communicate. Sometimes bhavam and sound together only can communicate. That's a dance. You don't require to understand the meaning of that, but still you can enjoy it. And sometimes only artham will communicate. So you have sound level, you have bhavam level, and you have got arthatalam, shabdatalam, bhavatalam, arthatalam, and different level with all these together is called the catharsis in English. It's called rejanatalam in Sanskrit. So communication itself have different layers. It depends on who communicates and to whom you are communicating. Sometimes to a small kid, tingle tingle little star. The kid does not understand anything. Does not understand what is a star, what's a tingle. But still they get some idea it is a song. Is it not? The kid will cry and the mother will give milk. It is communicating that it needs milk. It doesn't know why it is crying. But mother understands. Sometimes sometimes the speaker will not understand, but the listener will understand. Every animal will cry and their mother will understand. So without knowing, some people will start communicating. Many times you can see priest will communicate to God all your requirements. You go and give some money and he will start chanting. Ekadame, ekadame, trishyastame, trishyastame, panjadame, panjadame, saptajame, saptajame, namajame, namajame, ekadastame. Does he understand anything? You ask the priest what does it mean? He will not know what does it mean, and the people also doesn't know, because you are all hearing that. Some Nai is chanting. You say that who is chanting? What does it mean? Does it mean anything to you? You know that it is something which is related to puja. That's all. Is it not? It's nothing but arithmetic progression. Ekachame 1, Trishyastame is 3, Panjachame is 5, Saptachame is 7. He is talking mathematics to God. People doesn't understand mathematics. God also does not understand mathematics. Okay. But still people will communicate, because he is communicating to God without understanding what God understands or what he understands. Sometimes first chapter will be arithmetic progression. That's not enough. Second chapter will be taken. Second chapter? Geometric progression. Ekamcha, dashamcha, dashamcha, shatamcha, shatamcha, sahasramcha, sahasramcha, ayudamcha, ayudamcha, prayudamcha, niyudamcha, vayudamcha, vayudamcha, trayudamcha. It means 1, 10,000, 100,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, etc., etc. He doesn't understand it is arithmetic progression. He doesn't understand it is geometric progression. Sometimes, most of the time, people who communicate need not understand the meaning. I took it from the child who does not understand the meaning of crying, and also the most knowledgeable person we consider as the priest, he also does not understand the meaning. Both will communicate something, but for some purposes. There only the sound will make some vibrations, and vibrations are communicating something to people. Only sound vibrations are it. Sometimes you don't have to make sound, only a look is enough to communicate, and many people are good in that. When you look, people will understand what does it mean. I am sitting in my house, in my office room, and some guest, I am talking to somebody, my son appears, stand there sometime. Then I will just look at him, he understands what does it mean. He will go and open his book and study in the sitting room. Is it not? So a look is enough to communicate sometimes. Sometimes one look may not be enough. Because if the same look is given to somebody else who is not my son, he will not understand that. Many people will ask question, how Arjuna could transfer how many verses? 700 verses of discussion to Krishna in the war field. It takes 4.5 hours tape generally. Audio tape is 4.5 hours, right? 4 hours, Gita chanting. That means in the war field, 4 hours he was telling something to Krishna, was telling something to Arjuna, Arjuna was asking questions and he was answering. It does not happen like that. The whole 700 words are never chanted sometime. It's only for people like us who don't understand the look, require a translation into verses. If my son will understand when I look what is to be done, but somebody else will not understand. If the same thing I have to write it in a drama or in a novel, how many lines I will have to write? I will have to write the whole background. One look cannot transfer information. So sometimes physical presence will communicate sometimes. Sometimes physical presence is not there, you will require more words to explain the situation. So therefore in communication, sometimes physical presence is good, sometimes talking is good, sometimes not talking is very good. That can communicate more. If you talk, it will become much more worse. Don't talk, then that will communicate much more. Sometimes the teachers will not even talk to you, not shout. Some very strict teachers, if they just look at it, that's enough. Their presence will communicate something. Sometimes your absence will communicate much better. You attend a marriage, nobody will care you. Oh, you have come or not. Nobody will care you. But if you don't attend, that becomes a big issue sometimes. Assume a minister attends a meeting, nobody will care him. But if you don't attend, people will start looking at it. Why he did not attend? So sometimes your presence will communicate, sometimes your absence also will communicate. So when you look at communication, don't look at only as oral communication. Many people will think communication means only oral. I have given different examples to show you that communication doesn't mean only oral communication with one people to another people. And all the examples which give you or which you give or generally people give is they communicate to their friends. they communicate to their parents. These are never called as communication. Because every communication is a professional activity in which you should have a content. After 3 hours of communication, you must be able to give a title. There has to be something which can be told about this is the topic, this is the concept. When you talk to your friends for half an hour, will you be able to give a title for that? Does it make some meaning to people? Therefore, it cannot be called as communication. And you don't have to learn that communication in this class. Because every one of us are very good in discussing with our friends, right now? Do you have to learn that here? If you are very good in talking to your friend, talking to your parents, listening from parents, listening from friends, don't mistake that as communication. That is not called as communication. What can be that called? Which is not professional communication. What is it called? Do you talk to your friend and say, I was communicating this much time, 1 hour with my friends? Do you say that? Now it has become chatting, cheating and all that. Okay. But professionally, what is the English word which you can use for that? Talking is too colloquial word. Conversation, that's the right word. So you had a conversation with your friend. You had a conversation with your parent. All the word what you used is same. It's slightly more professional to use the word conversation. When you converse with the people, that has to be distinguished between the communication. Conversation is too casual, communication is professional. That's the difference. You don't have to learn conversation. Do you feel upset or do you don't have the confidence in conversing with your friend? You all of us can communicate with our friends, right now? When you communicate, talk to your friend, that's called a conversation. For conversation, you don't require a skill class. For communication, you require a skill class. What is the difference between conversation and communication then? Communication requires a concept, a topic. Conversation does not require a topic. You will start with discussing the new model, the cell phone model available in the city. But then your friend does not have interest in that. Then what you will do? You will change the topic into new cinema which is running. And if that also is not of interesting to him, you will talk about his dress. Or you will talk about the cricket match. Or you will talk about politics. You will keep on shifting. In 5 minutes or 10 minutes you must have covered different topics. But in a class like this, when I am talking, can I go on shifting the topic? My core idea is to talk about communication. At the end of the class, communication should be what is being talked to you. When you write an article, one paragraph you write on some item, another paragraph something else. Can you write an article like that? You cannot. In an article or in a textbook, you will communicate something. But with your friend, you can go on shifting your topics. You need not know the topic at all. Still you can discuss the item with your friend. But in a communication, you cannot do that. So the first requirement in communication is you should collect information, you should collect data, you should analyze it, you should make it your knowledge and then try to put it in your words. So first you require data sets, second you require that to be analyzed and then you have to present it. How to present? I wanted to draw this picture. Do I just start painting green or do I have the idea of what I am going to paint first? I should have an idea of what I am going to paint first, right? But assume it's a small kid who is going to draw a river. You know what the kid does? They will start drawing the river. If the page is over, they will turn the page and then the river will be drawn in the next page also. That's like equivalent to conversation, where you don't have a format given. But whereas in communication, a professional painter, how he will paint? He wanted to draw the Vivekananda's picture. He paints like this. He is a professional painter. You ask a small child to paint, looking at this picture, he has to paint. He will ask you the same size paper first. But assume you will give a smaller paper, what he will do? He will draw only the cap. Nothing else. Because he says only that much can be put inside. But if it's a professional painter, what he will do? He will minimize it. A good communication skill depends on how you can put inside the frame. If somebody asks you to present on some topic, 1 hour you must be able to present it. But assume you are not having 1 hour, you have only 15 minutes. In 15 minutes you must be able to reframe it. Assume you have to write an essay. I can write only 1000 lines essay, but not less than that, not more than that. Then you are not a professional writer. You must be able to put the same idea in one paragraph. Maybe only 6 lines have to be written. Yes, that 6 lines should convey the meaning. If you can write one full page, yes, one full page is sufficient to convey the meaning. Assume that you have to write 6 pages, that 6 pages also you must be able to fill with sufficient information. So a good communicator is a communicator who will have data sets, he will be able to analyze it, he can make it himself, and he can put it into the frame whatever size is given to him. Whether it can be 3 hours of talk or 1 hour of talk or maybe 3 minutes of presentation, he must be able to present it well. And that should content should be precisely put inside within the time how much I can present. That well he should present it. That's more important. And then if that framing is over, then the language comes inside. So language have got lesser priority. First you should have idea. If you don't have idea, good language, you cannot become a good communicator. We are very good in our mother tongue. But can you make a good presentation on any topic given to you? Can you make a presentation on any topic given to you? You will have a problem. Why? Because you don't think. That's what happens. So in communication, thinking is very, very important. So if you have to learn skill, just these classes will not be enough. These classes will give you a spark. You must be able to expand it, learn around that, and then try to make it yourself. So each point once, I say this much skill is more important, thinking is more important, you must know how to put it into your practice. Because in 5 days it can only give you sparks. You cannot make it into fire. But I'll give one example for that. You are holding pen with you. How many years you are holding pen with you? For last so many years? More than 10-15 years? How many of you can talk about the pen for half an hour? Give a presentation on pen, half an hour. Lift your hands if you can. This shows no communication skill, right? You are having pen and you have sufficient data, knowledge about the pen. Why you are not able to talk about the pen for half an hour? Now I will start bargaining. Make it 10 minutes presentation. How many of you can talk about pen for 10 minutes? Yeah, very good. Give a clap. She can do that. Good. Come here. How many of you can talk about pen for 2 minutes? You come here. How many of you can talk about the pen for 2 minutes? No one else? 2 minutes. How many of you can talk about pen for 1 minute? Only one more. Very bad. Come here. What is that you are thinking of?
How it is useful to human people.
Good. That's the first step. Many people when they are called, they will think something else. So the topic is given, her thought process is focused to the pen only. Is it not? When you don't have that thinking process, I don't know whether I can present or not. If that is the thought process, then the communication is the first failure. You will not be able to present it. She said, no, I am thinking about pen only. When somebody comes on to stage, they will start thinking how others will start feeling about my presentation, whether I will be able to present well or not, whether I can do this in 2 minutes, whether I can do it in 10 minutes. These processes will be there, but you don't think about the topic which you are to present. That's good. Now you take 2 minutes and then present on pen, not 10 minutes. 2 minutes. Use the mic. What do you do? B.Ed lecturer, education, wonderful. I've got a book on education. Right.
So, first scientists started so many innovations and so many discoveries they made, but they are unable to present before the people without that printing extra. But when John Gutenberg started printing, he made using this ink and extra. So with that printing started, then China people started this ink era. Then our Indian people also started in old days. We have seen that Rajas and everything. with that quills they have written on the paper like that. On that, I don't know the word, Talapatra Granthas we will say. So on that also we tried to write on that our scriptures and Puranas, everything. Like that we tried to pass our knowledge to our student next generations. Thank you.
Good. What is the title you can give for your what you say?
Knowledge. Translating the knowledge to the next generation using pen. It's a medium.
So the title which she gives is how to translate knowledge to others using pen. What did I ask you to talk?
About pen.
About the pen. What did you talk?
I just make use of pen.
Use of pen. Okay, go. Good. Very good. Done well. Give a clap. Very bad clapping. You don't know how to clap also. Whenever, whatever you can do in your life, do it with full devotion, with full concentration, wholeheartedly. Don't do it just like this. When you can clap, clap well. It's to be done. Okay? Do whatever you can do in the perfect way. Don't try to get away while doing something. Don't do that. While eating, eat well. While cooking, cook well. While taking bath, bath well. No? While talking, do well. With wholeheartedly do it. When you sit in the class, think about class only. Don't see something else in your mind. So, what to eat after the class. Then while eating you will think about, oh, the class was good. So both the class also you will not enjoy, eating also you will never not enjoy. Okay? So your presence of mind is very important. I asked her to talk about pen, but she talked about uses of pen. And she also talked about, even though she said uses of pen, I have seen many things behind that. She also talked about history of pen. She talked about ink first. She talked about the evolution of pen. Is it not? Now if you ask me how to give a subtitle for this, I will give the pen is the title, subtitle will be use, second subtitle will be evolution, third subtitle will be history, fourth subtitle will be how it is used in India. You know that? And the technology also you have covered because the skill was used. So the technology and later some other technology came. Is it not? So if you want to do any communication, first thing what you require is take a clean paper, take a clean paper, take a clean paper, take a clean paper, take a pen with you. And as a small LKG student or nursery student do, draw a circle in the center of the paper and make it a sun. You know what's a sun? Surya. Okay. So you draw a sun, wonderful sun. What do you draw? A circle and lot of rays, all sides, right now? Different rays, you draw different rays around that. You know why you are drawing this? In one ray you write use. In the center, in the circle you write pen. The topic given to you to communicate, whether it's an essay writing, whether it's a presentation, whether it's a technical presentation, doesn't matter. The topic of discussion is pen. In the circle you write PEN, pen. One ray you write use. That's one subtitle. The title is pen, subtitle one ray. That is use. Second ray, evolution. Third ray, technology. Fourth ray, ink. Ink is also one part of that. And then use in India, how it evolved in India, the technology. Another ray. Now you add many more and then tell me what are the other possibilities. History of pen. Then what else? Models of pen, right. Then cost of pen, the price. Then different ink, yeah, ink is one. Quality of pen, the technology of pen. You have ball point, you have ink point, is it not? So different. Then the media in which you can write. You can write on paper, you can write on transparency, you can write fabric pen. Is it not? So different media in which you can write. Then sizes of pen, not the physical size, the thickness in which you will write. You can see 0.3 micro tip pen, 0.5 And maybe you will have to have thick pen when you want to write on the board. So you have different sizes of pen. Then what? Colors of pen. Yeah. Types of pen. Done. Pen is seen as a prestige. No? If you put Parker pen here, that's enough. You know this man is great. Is it not? So as a status symbol, you can use it for presenting gifts. Pen is a hobby for many people. We have T.N. Session, the earlier election commissioner. He used to collect a lot of pens. So it's a hobby for people. Then what else? There are some proverbs on pen. Mightier than sword. Okay, so you can use it as a weapon. Then what? You have gone to General Bazaar market. You have seen people using pen. So creative use. And some teachers will use pen for different purpose. And different purpose sometimes. So creative uses of pen. Then what else? Think now how many rays you have filled up. Is it not? Each 1 minute can you talk? Now how many minutes you can talk about a pen? Now given any topic, what is to be done? Data collection, is that what you have done? Did I give you any extra information? Nothing. It's all in you. But what happens? When somebody asks you to present, you are not thinking about the pen. You are thinking about the trouble in presenting. Is it not? The first thought process comes, if I tell I can present, what do I present? Will I be able to present? Whether the language will be good or not? Whether I will get sufficient idea or not? You will start thinking, and internal thought process will be more, and all that what you have learned in your life is forgotten. And I have not given any extra information to you on pen. All that information you have. But what is to be done? Just think wide, too large. Extend your canvas. Just put a circle, whatever you wanted to present. Put a circle, put lot of arrows, try to put lot of subtitles on that. Think about different aspect on that. Now you have lot of data sets collection. Then what is to be done? Do you put the history first, invention first, users first? So you should put titles. First 1, 2, 3, 4. Put different titles, number for each of them. So each one is a chapter for you. So you have made a structure. And after making a structure, you can put it in a format. Whether you will draw the tree in the center or in the middle, or in the side, whether you will put it in this corner or that corner, whether you will put the building first and the tree at the back side. That you should decide where to put what, in what sequence it has to be presented, whether it's a drawing a picture or it's writing an article or making a presentation. In what form you are going to put it, that's called format. So you have a structure, data collection, structure, formatting, putting it into a style, making an index, all these have to be done. Then expand it according to the time given to you. If you have less time, don't expand it too much. If you have more time, expand it large. If I have got lot of things to be drawn, whichever is closer, I will even draw the ear which is closer to me. But for the person who is standing at the end, I don't have to draw the subtle details, are not required, so I will put it aside. What is important, what is to be presented, that has to be given more importance. So make a sequence like that. Once you make that sequence, you will have sufficient confidence. And then you can present it. Now, you don't have to present. I did not ask you whether to come here or not. How many of you can write an article on pen now? Even with this information, you are not confident that you can do that? Right. What is important is, everything what you see around, look at it divergent style. Divergent thinking is very essential when you wanted to talk about any subject. Whenever you wanted to talk about a subject, don't just get into a small corridor and then think this is the whole world. When I talk about communication, did I only talk about oral presentation? Verbal communication? Many people will get blind. Communication means only talking to friends, talking to parents, talking to in the interview board how to present. That's communication. That's not communication. Think where does it come from? Whether the signal is a communication. While driving also, oh, signal is a communication. This picture is a communication. It all depends on how do you look at this world. Okay, so it depends on you. How do you think? If you can clean your mind perfect, make clean, then everything what comes in front of you will start reflecting. And your mind will become the best communicator to you. And all that will get communicated to you, you will be able to present it well. If your mind is not good, anything what you see will not communicate to you anything, therefore you cannot grasp knowledge, therefore you cannot present it well also. A good listener will be a good communicator, therefore listening is more important. When you read, you should listen to the text. Reading becomes a communication. A good reader, when he reads, he will like to communicate with the author. A good reader is a good communicator to the author. You are reading a textbook, that becomes a communication to you. Because you will understand and then you will be able to reframe it, paraphrase it. Whatever you read, try to write it again, next moment. As soon as you finish reading one chapter, write one page about that. If you don't practice it, you will read, but you will be able to never present it to somebody else. Whatever you do, try to replicate in your own style, your own words. Let it be in your mother tongue or other tongue, it doesn't matter, but try to do that. If you don't do, you are not able to get the skill. So communication skill can be obtained only by practices. Keep on practicing. After reading one chapter, if there is mother, father, brother, sister, somebody at home, teach them. Whatever chapter you are reading, let it be fluid mechanics, physics, chemistry, computer science, electronics, biology or education, whatever you are doing. Whatever you read today, go and teach somebody else at home. Once you finish your BTech, your mother also should have sufficient knowledge to get a BTech. Once you do that, you become a good communicator. You will be able to teach people tomorrow. And when you read also, you think that I am going to teach this subject tomorrow in the class. The reading becomes much more perfect. Is it not? Assume that you have to prepare for a seminar. You will read thoroughly, more concretely. Assume you are writing only examination. You will become so casual. So whenever you read, you think that I am going to use this information to talk to somebody in the class. Your reading will become a good communication to you. It will become interesting. It will stay in your mind for a long time. Stay in your mind for a long time. Mind is not here, it is buddhi. Okay? Mind is manas. It will stay in your manas. A good communicator is a person who keeps information in his mind, not in brain. I'll again change. A good communicator is a person who keeps information not in buddhi but in manas. You understood the difference? Manas is different and buddhi is different. Don't keep information, knowledge in manas. And such people can never communicate. They don't understand. They don't get convinced. A person who keeps information in buddhi will become only good in writing examination, getting certificate. He will never be able to use it. You will learn how to drive, where is brake, where is clutch and all that. If you turn this side, the vehicle will go that side. That is good, it is in buddhi. Once it is in manas, you will be able to drive well. You don't have to think while driving. Do anybody think while driving? So buddhi is not used for driving. Any skill will never use knowledge. The knowledge becomes yours. That becomes wisdom. That becomes skill. Knowledge is only in buddhi. Skill is in manas. Knowledge is in buddhi. Skill is in manas. A communication skill means it should come from manas. Do you think that I am thinking for talking to you? If I am thinking, I will not be able to talk. I am not thinking. It comes from manas. Because I keep information not in buddhi, keep information in manas. If somebody takes my electroencephalograph, whether the brain is working or not now, that's how the brain working, how much vibrations are there. It will be nothing now. It will not be working. No buddhi for me now. While eating, do you use buddhi? Do the hand will search for your mouth? Automatically it goes, right now? It becomes so casual, so easy for you. A skill is so easy. If you learn skill means that becomes easy for you. Your brain will not work. Your manas will work. Many people will learn inside the brain but not in manas. Therefore it becomes useless. How many times you must have taken oath that all Indians are my brothers and sisters? How many times you must have taken? But when you walk on the MG road, do you feel, oh, this is my brother, this is my sister? You know why it is not feeling? Because you have put it inside brain but not in manas. They are not Pakistanis or Afghanistanis, they are Indians only. But still you don't feel. Whatever you learned is not coming practically. That's just because you have kept it in your buddhi but not in manas. So a good communicator will keep information in manas. Just it flows. So manas has to be clean and then put information there. That's what Shankara says. Manam darpana samanam. Assume that you put bad words in you. You put only 2 words. Dog, son. 2 words only. But when you get angry, both will be combined and you will use it. That's why you scold, right? No? You will start using, combining different words and then use it for scolding. Why? Because your mind is not clean. Assume your mind is clean, then you will never be able to scold people. And everybody likes good words only to be used. Do anybody likes to hear bad words? But many times people will use bad words only. Why? Because that is how you are trained. Every mother and father will scold his children. Your mother and father got sufficient from their parents. Whatever they hear only they will use. One generation, if there is no scolding at home, next generation onwards there will be no scolding in this world. But that does not happen. Every mother and father will teach you how to scold. And you will get the training so that you can scold your kids. Whatever you hear only you will use. If communication has to be good, you should hear good words. Don't hear bad words. So try to clean the communication process. Very easy to say but very difficult to practice. But if you strive for that, only 20-21 days you practice that, you don't get irritated, you will not use bad words, you will use only good words, you will become so mild in talking to people, I will purify my style of talking, you will become a good communicator. 21 days. Only 21 days you have to practice. Assume that you have good company, with them you start talking. You will learn how to talk. That's why most of the time you will have 30 days of, 9 days maybe they will be taking leave. So most of the time language can be learned very easily. It's not very difficult to learn. But just try for that. A good style of talking. Talk to people only with good words. Priya vakya pradhanena sarve tushyanti jandavaha tasma tadega vaktavyam vajaneka daridradam. Priya vakya pradhanena sarve tushyanti jandavaha. Even animals will feel happy when they get good words. So why can't you use good words? It does not cost you anything. Vajaneka daridradam. Why you want to have daridram? Don't become confused in using good words. Try to use good words to people. You are assessed by the words what you use, not by your presence. Assume that you use nice dress, lot of ornaments are worn, nice flowers are put, lot of jewelries are put, taken good bath, lot of sandalwood paste, everything is there. But the way they chant, Shanti, 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 no Shanti inside. Then how they chant Shanti? He must be thinking about his wife's name, Shanti. The Shanti will not come. All external expressions are useless. It should come from internal. If your words have to be good, you should have an internal clean mind. If you don't have, what comes outside will become very bad. So it's very, very essential to have a culture, a practice, a tradition in using words. If you don't have good words in you, you are considered as the worst person in the world. Whatever way you look like, that's not important. It's the words what is to be used in the perfect style. Keyurana bhushayanti purusham harana chandrojwalam na snanam na kusumam na vilepanam. Keyurana bhushayanti purusham. How do you present yourself is not important. Whether you have put lot of haram, lot of ornaments, that's not important. Whether you have taken bath or not is not important. All that is not important. Vak bhushanam bhushanam. Nice words have to be there. And people will become close friends or enemies, depends on what word you are going to use. You just call people by their name and then start talking to them. They will like you a lot. But many people don't even use nice words. So try to use. We have got Lalita Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam and all that. You know why this? When the people like God, they will keep calling the name, maybe 100 names, 1000 names. But many people will by heart it and then chant it down. That's useless. They should feel love to that person. When I like my son, I will start calling him by different names. If somebody likes a person, they will automatically start calling with the different names. That easiness should come in conversation. That's what is essentially required. That's how 1000 names have come. Because a person who likes the God much, he started calling with 1000 names. But now today it has become a practice chanting. That's useless. So it should come from the manas, from inside. When it comes from manas, that becomes a point. Most of the time your own indriyas will start cheating you with communication. That's also very, very dangerous. Sometimes the eye will require, but the tongue will say don't require. Sometimes the manas will say you require and buddhi will say don't do it. That's a big communication. Lot of conflict happens internally. Nice mirchi bhaji. The tongue will start communicating to you, please go and eat. Then the buddhi will say don't eat because last week you ate, your stomach was upset. The buddhi will say don't eat, manas will say eat, indriya will say eat. And your hand also will go and pick it up. You will not know. You have no control sometimes. And then your indriya and buddhi and manas will start fighting. But assume you don't eat because you listen to your buddhi. So good man. You are so practical. You don't eat it, but sleep. At sleep it will come back again as a dream. Mirchi bhaji will come in place. And next day you feel, oh, I did a big mistake. I did not eat that. And that communication will from Atma to Buddhi, Atma to Manas. Atma is what is creating for your dreams. So you will have a lot of problems if you listen to your Buddhi, listen to your Manas, all that will have problems. A person becomes very clean, very good in communication only when your Buddhi and Manas become so close friends. And all Indriyas are controlled. And therefore you will become very good. So therefore learning, understanding, putting them into practice, putting them in your manas is more important, and then present it. Don't worry about how others are feeling about whatever you do. Most of the time that's what you feel. If I don't present well, what will happen? What will happen maximum? What will happen maximum? You will throw chappal on me. That's why Ramakrishna Math is removing chappals and then so that you don't throw chappals. None of you know me tomorrow. You are not going to see me tomorrow. So whatever I say, this is what I know, so I am telling. That's all. Don't worry how you are going to rate me. Why should I worry that how you are going to rate me? If you are my close friends, I don't have to worry. If you are not my close friends, you are not seeing me tomorrow, I don't have to worry about you. So both way I don't have to worry about you. So whatever you can, try to present it. Don't think that the people are fools. Don't also think that the people are so brilliant and better than you. Have good confidence. This is what I know. And if you are good or bad, you will start communicating to me. You will tell that the whole class is useless, sir. Wonderful, no? That's all I know. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less I can do anything. Somebody will say, your presentation is very good, but content is useless. Yeah, this is what I know. I don't know anything more. So you teach me something more. If you don't know a topic, you talk about that topic, then people will come and tell you what they know, then learn from them, and the next class you can improve. My professor used to tell, if you don't know music, talk about music. Then somebody will tell you, this is not music. Ask him what is music. Then he will tell you what is music. Learn music from him and talk about music tomorrow. So this is the only way to learn. Unless you practice, unless you do it, you cannot learn. So try to make as many presentations, as many writings as you can. Going back today, what you should do is write about whatever you learned today. Communication skill. Tomorrow if somebody asks you what's communication skill, you must be able to make 1 hour presentation or better than that. Once you do that exercise, that becomes yours. If you don't do that, you will sit in the class, attend the 5 lectures, and then you will feel that nothing is there in that. Okay? Try to reproduce. Paraphrasing is very, very important. Whether reading or hearing, after that try to write it once again and make it yours. That's more important. Before forgetting, I have to announce that tomorrow there is no evening class and the class will be on Sunday. I have already crossed 1 hour and I am very happy that